What's up, YouTube? Now, you see the title of this video, and you see the image that I have on the screen here. This video, man, I'm really gonna break down why I really just don't care about all of the crying, all of the whining that we're seeing right now when it comes to a lot of these white dudes on the internet, bitching about how the society is, right? Now, my last video, I said I was gonna record this video, right? About, I said I was gonna talk about a video that I saw, from it was some white dude, talking about, how the society is messed up, and because he was responding to because see what that inspired this video I'm about to talk about with the white dude, and also Sergeant Willie Pete recently uploaded a video kind of on this topic. So, I was like, yeah, I want to give my 2 cents on it. But, the video, the white dude's, he's complaining and talking about, because he was responding to a Fox News, some Fox News excerpt or something, where I think it was like Tomi Lahren, she's talking about, how men they need to grow up, whoop-de-whoop, and the rise of the stay-at-home son and all this nonsense, right? And that, like, when they're talking about stuff like that, we know that, when it comes to Fox News and who's gonna look at that message, obviously it's a white woman saying it, so this is something that's going to be received more so by the white community, right? And Tomi Lahren said what she said on that clip, right? And I mean, I'm not gonna play the whole clip here. You can go look it up. Just go look up like Fox News, the rise of the stay-at-home son or something. You'll be able to find it on the YouTube search engine for sure. And you got all these videos now after that being made by a lot of these white dudes in the white manosphere and whatnot, different spaces, talking about how, they want men to go to work for nothing. It's hard to get jobs, and the society's messed up and the system is corrupt. And I'm sitting back, right? I'm sitting back hearing all the complaints. I'm sitting back looking at the goofy videos being made by a lot of these white dudes. And I'm literally just like, you hypocritical pieces of shit. You hypocritical pieces of shit. Now, I know you might be wondering, what do you mean by hypocritical? The system is messed up right now, or the society is kind of messed up. Look, none of that shit matters. You want to know why none of that shit matters? Because according to the white people within this country, the same, and I want y'all to understand, the videos that are being made by a lot of these white dudes that you're seeing, a lot of these dudes, they have a track record of pushing the rhetoric, when it comes to other groups. Because see, the problem with this whole situation of like a lot of these white dudes crying, lately, when it comes to society, complaining about DEI, complaining about, the blacks and just any and everything racial, they're jumping out the window, crashing out over. It's because you have to understand, these people, man, because the society is and has been, really, the system has been fucked up, but it hasn't always been fucked up for them all the way. See, the problem that's really occurring is now that a lot of white men are starting to feel the beginning stages, the beginning birthing pains of what black men have been facing in this country, and black people in general have been facing in this country. Now, all of a sudden, they can recognize a systemic issue. Now, all of a sudden, they know what systemic problems are. And they now understand and can now fathom that if a system is rigged, and if a system is not operating to how it needs to operate, it doesn't matter how much work you do. It doesn't matter how many hours you put into a job. If you can't afford, to pay your rent barely each month, you're not going to be able to afford to get a house. If you can't afford to pay for the rent and the groceries off of a salary that's subpar, right? If you're not able to have a salary that can accommodate for your rent, accommodate for food, accommodate for that, let alone a house, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much work you do. It doesn't matter because the wages are not high enough. The job market is fucked up, and it doesn't matter how much you lift yourself up by the bootstraps. I mean, if you don't even have any boots to lift with any straps to lift, you can't do shit. But see, when black men were going through this same thing and were saying these same things, guess what many of these same white men said? And see, the funniest thing about this is the same white men you see complaining about all this shit, they were the same ones pushing that rhetoric that, lift yourself up by the bootstraps narrative. And when black men complained about the system, they said, stop being a victim. They said, stop being, saying you's oppressed and you're not oppressed, you're lazy, this and that. They were the same ones. And the funny thing is, the white dude that made the video, one of the white dudes that made the video responding to, Tommy Lauren, talking about, men, they were, something like the video was titled, they want men to work for nothing and stuff like that. That same white dude, bro, I actually remembered who that was when I saw it, the thumbnail. I saw it. I'm like, I remember who this guy is. And I'm not even going to drop his name. It doesn't even matter. But the same dude that I saw months prior, I actually remember seeing a video of that same individual in my feed, and I clicked on it because it was the title was kind of intriguing. I'm like, oh, what is this? Kind of interesting. And I kid you not, the very first seconds into the video, I'm talking about the intro, he's doing some weird, how a lot of these white dudes do. They're just so childish and effeminate. He's doing some weird troll intro where he's doing some caricature of how they view a black man who is, the victim black man caricature trope. He's going into some troll shit of I'm a black man, I'm oppressed, I'm oppressed, kind of making it as a joke, kind of making it satire, it's something that's not real. It's some funny little joke. So the very few seconds into this video, the very few seconds into that video that I saw, some months back, he's mocking black men. He's mocking the systemic woes that black men speak on. He's going, and you know what? I might even just go ahead and roast his ass in another video. Fuck it. I'm not going to name him now, but if I do, you will know who I'm talking about when I make that video. But he's mocking the systemic complaints that black men make, right? He's mocking that. But then, you look through his catalog, he's in that sphere of racist anyway. So it's just very funny, right? You're mocking the systemic complaints that black men have, but now that, you white boys is running around crying, you want people to give a fuck. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what? Honest, and see, this is why no one gives a fuck. You see, I'm gonna be real. Everybody who's black, especially black men, you should just be like, I don't care. Get the violin and start playing it. The violin, the sad violence, I don't give a fuck. Because when it was black men, when it was black people in general, no one gave a fuck. You told them to lift themselves up by the bootstraps. You told them stop being a victim, be a victor. You made all the excuses and gaslighting to ignore systemic complaints of black men. But then when it comes to some white boys crying because everything isn't how they want it to be 100%, and they're beginning to feel the growing pains of the impending Elysium timeline, right? Sergeant Willie P often, talks about how shit's going towards Elysium. And it's funny because I've literally always had that in the back of my mind, like, yo, this shit's about to be like Elysium soon. If you haven't seen the movie Elysium, go see it. It's basically, the elites is literally living high up in the sky, and you got the peasants running around. Like, the movie's wild, but that's where we're headed, right? But, we're heading toward the Elysium timeline, and it's like, now that you're beginning to feel the same things black men have felt, now you want people to be like, oh my God, everything's against us white men. No, it's not. No, it's not. See, what's happening is you're getting the day you deserve. What's happening is that judgment is hot, and you can't take the judgment that's coming from the wickedness that you have been engaging in all this time. See, because all this time, right, you have been able to feast upon the glory of the elites, right? Now I'm about to get into a little minor historical, little bit of history, right? So I'm gonna make another soon down the line, another video on this. But when it comes to like who's really running this earth and with the elites, right? The elites of this planet have their own separate bloodline, from the rest of the whites, right? The rest of these whites who run around, and it's always funny when they say we was Vikings, we built the worlds and shit. Like, you ain't built shit. The elites are really the head of everything, right? And they get their information and technology from Lucifer. Now, I know we're getting into another angle, and you don't gotta really, if you don't want to believe a lot of this stuff, that's cool. But this is just what it is, right? The controls of this world are linked in with a higher intelligence that is outside of human, what you would perceive as human, right? So the elites have this connection. They have this, and they have been able to garner all of their power from this particular entity. And these lesser whites running around, they've been able to feast off of the glory of the elites. They've been able to utilize what they have obtained from this higher entity to their benefit. But see, now we are reaching a new age right now. We're reaching the age of judgment. We're reaching an age where everything that you have done, everything that you have when it comes to your gaslighting of black people, when it comes to all of the, ignoring the systemic issues of them, now you're getting the day you deserve. Now you're seeing shit start to crumble. Now you're about to be in a situation where you're going to know how it feels to be a Negro. And you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to cope. And I'm telling you, black people, right now, the more we reach to that Elysium timeline, the more you're going to see these white boys crash out. The more you're going to see them blame the blacks, because see, they're too bitch made to go at the elites. They're not going to do it. I'm trying to tell you, we're not going to get to a point where we're at another Bacon's Rebellion. It's not happening, bruh. We're dealing with some of the most effeminate men in recorded human history, right? We're dealing with a group of men who will be getting punched in the face by, a man who's like 6 foot, and they ain't even got to be that much shorter than them, right? They could be, 5'10", right? When it comes to, combat, right? Height is really not everything, right? But nonetheless, right, they could be getting their ass beat by a dude that's a little bigger than them. They could be getting stumped out, brutalized, right? And they need to defend themselves against that. They need to block them punches. They need to weave and dodge. They need to do something. But instead of going at the motherfucker who's whooping their ass, instead of throwing backs and punches at them, they want to go and find a goddamn a fucking leprechaun midget who's like 80 pounds, looking malnourished and shit. And they want to start kicking on him. They want to start choke slamming him. They want to start, sweeping his legs and having him hit the pavement and shit. They want to start going at him. But the dude that's right behind them, punching them in the back of the head, they just act like he's not there. That's basically what you're seeing with a lot of these whites running around right now. You're seeing the highest form of bitch assness in recorded human history. You're seeing a group of men who refuse to attack the real problem because they're too cowardly. and they want to project their insecurities. They want to project their lack of whatever they have, material conditions, whatever it may be. They want to project all of that in the form of, going at the blacks instead of going at the elites. And they're gonna keep doing this. They're not gonna stop because they're too bitch made, right? It takes manhood to go at somebody who is a threat like that and really address the real problem. But these dudes are not men. They're just not. I don't think they're gonna ascend into manhood. It's not gonna happen. So you need to get strapped up. If you are black, you need to make sure you got some form of weaponry on you, man. Even if you walking around with a fucking samurai sword, you need to have some form of weaponry. Because these motherfuckers are crashing out. And the crash outs is just beginning. We're at the beginning stages, but the crash outs is going to be even more catastrophic as time progresses. So you need to have some form of weaponry. I mean, if you could walk around with an RPG, I would advise that. You need some form of weaponry. If you could drive an Abrams tank through every day, get rid of the Mercedes, get the Abrams tank and drive through that. I would advise that. You need some form of weaponry at all times because the crash outs is imminent. It's a ticking time bomb. Especially, like I said, the more we get to that point of the Elysium timeline. So these white dudes want to cry now, right? Getting back to the main topic, these white dudes want to cry now. They want to bitch and moan, and they want to whine about the system. So now you care about the system. Right now you care about the system. Now you can acknowledge systemic issues. Now you can acknowledge when there's problems in the system and that stuff needs to get fixed. Only when it affects you, though. Only when it affects you. When it affects the blacks, you got all the gaslighting tactics because you have a fragile existence, right? See, a lot of these racist white dudes, and it's funny, it's the racist white dudes that are complaining the most. And they keep talking about, it's the DEI, it's the blacks, because they don't want to acknowledge them elites, man. Because the bane of their existence is that they are white and they believe they are superior. So they can't call out white people who are fucking shit up. Or doing shit that they don't like. They have to attack the blacks because it's within their ideology. They gotta blame somebody outside of themselves. And they're the main ones running around complaining and crying. And no one can feel sorry for you when you have spent all this time diminishing other people, diminishing their plight, saying that they're being a victim, and gaslighting them into oblivion. No one's gonna feel sorry for you. No one's gonna sit there and while you're in the corner in the fetal position and hold your hand. No one's gonna do that. The therapist isn't going to help you. In fact, the therapist is gonna look at you and be like, "Get the fuck out of my room, bruh." You don't get therapy. See, you don't get any help because you have made everyone the enemy. So now you have no friends. Now you have no friends. Now you're on the island by yourself, crying, talking about, we's white means under attacks. No, you're getting the day you deserve. You're getting the day you deserve. You're getting the judgment you deserve. You're getting everything that you've put out getting thrown back at you. And you can't handle it. You can't deal with the fact that everything that you gaslit others is not all of their complaints and the gaslighting tactics that you waged against them and all the complaints they were making. Now everything they said that was happening to them is now beginning to happen to you. And now you're in a situation where no one's going to give a fuck because you gaslit them. So they're going to gaslight you now. They're going to tell you to lift yourselves up by the bootstraps. And it's even funnier coming from these racist white males because they claim we's built the worlds. We was Vikings. So you know what you need to do? You need to go build the world. You need to go pioneer, right? This is what y'all claim. Like I said in my last video about the Patriot Front shit, they claim they pioneer. We the same stuff with the Patriot Front. They marching in Kansas City crying, talking about we're oppressed in this country. If you built the world, go build another civilization then. Go. You the high IQ superior white. Go build another civilization. Go build another one from scratch. Go pioneer another land. Since you built the world, right? Since you pioneered everything, right? You invented everything in existence. Nothing exists without you, right? So go pioneer another civilization. Go build the world. Go build another world. Because this is what you claim you've done. You claim you've built everything. So now if the system's corrupt, go build another one. Oh, you can't? Oh, because you know deep down that this system was really not all formed by you. And that's another video I'm gonna make in the future. Like I already touched on a little bit when it comes to the elites with their connection with Lucifer, the entity that's given all the technology. You know deep down that if we drop you motherfuckers off, all you white supremacists on a plot of land, y'all won't build shit. Y'all will not invent nothing. Because this technology we have, the medium I'm speaking to you through right now was not made by humans. And that's a whole nother conversation. You know deep down, we was Vikings. That meme, that's you. You ain't built shit. You have not pioneered nothing. You are living in a system that was already in existence when you were born. And you know when that system is gone, you have nothing. And this is why you're crying. Because if your rhetoric, if you truly believed you were the master race and you were superior, you lesser whites, if you believed this, you would go and make another society. You wouldn't keep bitching about the current society. But because you haven't built the world, because you ain't pioneered you're glorying in other people's work. You know, if without this society, you're nothing. This is all you have. All you have is the false sense of superiority the elites have given you. Of, oh, I'm white and I'm superior. That's all you have. And if that's gone, you have nothing. And this is the real reason that they are crashing out. Because they know they have absolutely nothing without this system to try to glory in some, vain glory, false glory. That's all they have. That's all they have. They can't exalt themselves through whiteness without some system giving them something monetary that they can glory in. It's only so long you can sit in squalor and say I'm better than everyone else. It's like, okay, yeah, cool. You're white and okay, cool. And that's really all they have. That's all they have. So you don't even believe your own rhetoric, because if you did, you would just go build another system. Like I said, the main ones complaining are the racist ones. You look through the catalog, they're racist. Legion of Men, all these other dudes. Go build another society then, bruh. God damn, man. I mean, the crying that I see every time I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling through my catalog looking for a video to watch, and every now and then there's some video, some white dude crying. I'm like, just shut the fuck up, bro. You have gaslit everyone else. You have made their complaints to be a fairy tale. So now you've made everyone your enemy, and now you have no one cares, because you've done this. See, everything that's happening is you. You could have easily thrown aside all of the goofiness of your racism, all of that dumb shit, and been like, yeah, let us make the world a better place once and for all. Let's go against these elites, and let's have a world full of equity for all. No. But you have to feel like you're better than someone. You have to feel like you're better than the blacks. This is the bane of your existence. So now you're going to be in a situation where you're going to have more coping mechanisms as time progresses when shit gets worse, because you've put yourself in a situation by gaslighting the world. Now you're in a situation where you're gonna get gaslit. So I guess like I said, you're getting the day you deserve. No one can feel sorry for a racist, right? No one can feel sorry for you in this situation. No one can feel sorry for someone who's been engaging in so much evil all this time and hatred. I really can't feel sorry for you. I just can't, because you've created the environment for this to even occur. So now, like I said, you're getting the day you deserve. But that's all I gotta say for this video, man. Man. That's all I gotta say for this video, man. I'm out.